Now, Nerissa is going to speak next. Nerissa is a former radio broadcaster and journalist who has worked in commercial radio in Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria. Since 2020, Nerissa has been involved with IWD Brisbane Meanjin, defending women's sex-based rights. And Nerissa is also a spokeswoman for Save Women's Sports Australasia. Nerissa is very concerned about the erosion of women's rights in the name of inclusion and the silencing of women who dare to speak out about this. Nerissa speaks publicly about this on behalf of her young daughter and women everywhere. Thank you, Nerissa, over to you.
So yeah, speaking to you from the land of the Gubbi Gubbi people, and I acknowledge the elders past, present and emerging. And I just wanted to say first up that many of the women standing up for our rights as adult human females are mothers and grandmothers. Many of these women are the face of our movement, for want of a better word. Although this phenomenon may be in part due to my Kindle's just died, maybe in part because some of these mothers, and no doubt many of the grandmothers, don't have to worry about losing employment if we're targeted and cancelled by activists, which Anna Kerr mentioned before. But I think it's a really important thing to note, given the vitriol and the hatred that's directed at us by angry men and many women too. I think it really underlines the disgusting misogyny of gender ideology and activists' complete disregard for our older generation of women. On that note, apologies in advance if we do encounter any technical issues, for instance, with our slideshow. So yeah, like Anna said, I've been attending protest rallies organised by IWD Brisbane Meanjin network, led by the formidable force who is Anna, since around 2020. And earlier this month, IWD organised a public information session regarding the state government's plan to introduce self-ID here. So they were planning to introduce this this year, but thankfully it looks like it's been delayed for now. So we've been holding regular protest marches in Brisbane CBD since 2020, as Anna mentioned. So with anywhere between 6 and 40 attendees across the different events that were held. So walking through South Bank and Brisbane CBD, raising awareness of what's happening to women's sex-based rights. So losing our female-only spaces in exchange for gender-neutral environments. Anna also arranged a postcard drive that she mentioned, sending them all to the state MPs with most excellent images and quotes by Magdalene Burns, such as "It isn't hate to defend your rights." And we've also done the stickering, like she said, and the postcard drops in public places like in libraries, trying to raise public awareness about the ways that self-ID harms women and girls. So we believe that most community members support female change rooms, female fitting rooms, public toilets for girls and women, and that most community members support girls and women's sport for girls and women, and that most community members don't believe that female identifying men should be permitted to be housed in the women's estate in prison. So the information session was originally to be held at the Royal on the Park. Then a hit piece was written by Australia's first transgender editor named Destiny Rogers, and that was in Q News, and it was titled "Birds of a Feather, Anti-Trans Bitchfest at Sultan's Hotel." The term Bitchfest was later replaced with Hatefest, but the URL still contains the slur bitch. So the article was an attempt to smear us as homophobic, highlighting the hotel's owner, the Sultan of Brunei, and his links to Sharia law and issues around homophobia. The article almost exclusively focused on the Sultan of Brunei and not on our rightful opposition to any man declaring himself a woman and being given unfettered access to female-only spaces and services. So our original venue reported receiving verbal and written threats to their current and future business if the event was to go ahead. Staff said they were not comfortable working at the hotel due to the repercussions of the event and the possible effects of any protest, including concerns for their physical safety. There's the lovely flyer that we had for the event, which a local artist here in Queensland, Donna, designed for us. So yeah, with a week to go out from the event after a heap of planning from Anna and her team of planning people, we were cancelled from the venue. So had to find another venue, and quickly. and managed to book another venue through Redlands City Council. So the event did go ahead and it was excellent. However, women, while we enjoyed morning tea and chatted, a protest took place outside our original venue. The protest was led by a man wearing lipstick, carrying a handbag over his shoulder with his long hair pulled back in a ponytail, shouting his demands into a megaphone, demands for access to women's domestic violence shelters and prisons. Police on foot, on motorbikes and in cars ensured that his right to spout this rhetoric freely was protected, because he had told the police he was expecting over 100 to march with him, hence the police presence. There was nowhere near this number. This man goes by the name Amy. So this person is the Queensland representative and coordinator of the National Queer Unionists in Tertiary Education Steering Committee, or CUTE for short, which provides advice to the National Executive on all matters related to LGBTQI+ members, including policy, bargaining claims, and membership issues. So Amy asked his followers to phone the council venue and to complain about our being gathered there and being allowed to gather there. Some of his followers did so as well, whilst others called our women fugly AFFR, which means fucking ugly as fuck for real, excuse my French, musty and dusty, and told us to eat shit, losers, followed by an offensive emoji. After we posted about our successful event, activists then targeted Redlands City Council to try and prevent us booking the venue again for any future events. And yeah, they tried to do a big reveal about our whereabouts, sort of tweeting, threatening sort of things like, let's do something about that. Thankfully, we can report that Redlands City Council has protected our right to freedom of speech. And we don't have to resort to intimidation, threats, or actual violence, because we know our argument is watertight and not unreasonable. Women and girls deserve dignity, respect, and privacy in female-only spaces. Women and girls need spaces away from men. So at the actual event, we had 4 speakers. So Steph Hughes presented from Fair Go for Queensland Women, and she spoke about the impact of self-ID on women in prison and on crime stats. Professor Diana Kenny, the former professor of psychology at the University of Sydney, now a consulting psychologist and psychotherapist who works with gendered questioning young people and their families. She spoke about the alternative to the affirmation approach. So the best analogy for this really is we don't tell anorexic children, or anyone for that matter, that yes, you're fat. And Kat Kariner is the founder and spokesperson for LGB Defence Australasia, and she established the website lostwomensrights.com. And Kat told us about the impacts on lesbians who are same-sex attracted females. And Deborah Ackerson-Lovely, the Aussie Olympics and Commonwealth Games weightlifter, mother of 3 daughters, she explained that allowing males to self-identify into the women's sports category renders it unfair and therefore completely meaningless due to countless biological performance advantages. So I encourage you to go to the IWD Brisbane Meanjin YouTube channel, and if you haven't already, watch those presentations. They were just really inspirational. And as a side note, I did manage to arrange and pre-record a radio interview after our event to talk about what we saw, and also to, I guess, raise awareness again around the state government's plans to introduce self-ID here. However, the radio interview is still yet to be aired, and it's not looking very promising at this stage. It's apparently being run past the media organisation's legal department, and we're still waiting on an outcome. Interesting to note that I didn't use the word transgender or trans once in the interview. I simply referred to males and the valid concerns that women and other people have regarding self-ID. Thank you.